Okay. Order the Village of Bartlett Plan Commission for June 10th, 2021 at 7:10. Will the secretary call the roll?
Mark Hopkins.
Here.
Tim Brennauer.
Here.
John Miasso.
Here.
Austin Hopkins.
Here.
Jerry Callis. Jim Lemberg.
Here. Here. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the April 8th, 2021 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is it second? Second. Are there any additions or corrections? Secretary, call the roll.
Tim Brennauer.
Abstain.
John Miasso.
Yes.
Austin Hopkins.
Yes.
Mark Hopkins.
Yes.
Jim Lemberg.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is number 21-04, the Grasslands. This evening, we're going to be discussing rezoning, preliminary subdivision PUD, comprehensive plan amendment, special uses, and preliminary PUD plans. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who's going to have a question or comment or add something to the discussions, there are some witness forms on that little shelf where the clock is back there. We ask that you fill them out and hand them in to the staff, and when it's open to the public, we will call your name and you can come up to the podium up here and have your 3 minutes. Okay, let's see. We have staff. Would you give us a little background?
Sure. The petitioner is requesting to rezone the property located at the northwest and northeast corners of Route 59 and West Bartlett Road to the PD Plan Development District. They are also requesting for a preliminary subdivision / PUD plan. The plan identifies 4 pods or neighborhoods for residential development. Pod 1 consists of 81 traditional single-family homes. Pod 2 consists of 60 active adult ranch homes. Pod 3 consists of 90 active adult duplexes, and Pod 4 consists of 116 townhome units. 6 acres are proposed for commercial development directly at the northwest corner of Route 59 and West Bartlett Road, and 11 acres are proposed to remain open space on the east side of Route 59. The plan identifies a full-access curb cut, which aligns with Cheviot Drive on West Bartlett Road, as well as 2 full-access curb cuts on Naperville Road, one for the single-family homes and another one for the future townhomes. The petitioner submitted a traffic study, which has been reviewed by the village's traffic consultant, who concurred with the findings in the study. Staff is awaiting comments from Cook County and IDOT, whom have jurisdiction over West Bartlett Road, Naperville Road, and Route 59. The petitioner is requesting special use permits for the planned unit development to allow a mixed-use development and for wetland mitigation. There are numerous wetlands on the site, and they're only proposing to mitigate about ½ an acre of low-quality isolated wetlands located within pods 2 and 3. They will be purchasing credits from a regional wetland mitigation bank. They're requesting a comprehensive plan amendment to the Bartlett Future Land Use Plan so that the uses match what is shown on the preliminary PUD plan. Due to the size of the development, they're requesting a phasing plan. Phase 1 would involve all of the single-family pods that we discussed. Phase 2 would consist of the townhomes north of the track, and Phase 3 is for future commercial. So they are proposing to do a bike path along Naperville Road for both phases. There will be a sidewalk the entire stretch of West Bartlett Road from Naperville to Route 59, and they're proposing a meandering bike path that goes through this development under 59 and goes through the park site to the east. They're proposing a 6 to 8 foot tall berm to screen the single-family homes along West Bartlett Road, which also includes a 6 foot tall fence. The petitioner is in talks with the Park District to dedicate a park site on the east side in between the active adult cottages and the active adult duplexes, as well as the almost 11 acres east of Route 59. So the Park District, there will be some wooded areas within that, and then they will be grading a portion of the site for future ball fields, possibly pickleball courts. That's up to the Park District's discretion. So there will be 81 traditional single-family lots, which are very similar to the SR3 zoning district, which is very common within the village. They're just requesting reduced front yards. The active adult single-family homes are ranch homes on smaller lots, which almost all of them back up to the detention and wetlands, as well as there's going to be a retention pond located on this lot. The active adult duplexes are located on the east side of the main road that goes through this development. There are ranch duplexes with optional lofts. There will be a 6-foot-tall fence installed on the on the lots that back up to the commercial development. The petitioner is also requesting a preliminary PUD plan for the townhomes, which is Phase 2, which is located north of the railroad tracks. It would be a total of 116 units in 23 buildings. The PUD plan identifies 39 guest parking spaces, which meets the zoning ordinance requirements. They are proposing a tree preservation easement along the north property line, and a tree survey will be required as part of the final subdivision PUD and final site plan application. They will be selling Phase 2 to a residential builder, and at that point, we will get building elevations as part of the final PUD plan for the townhome development. Detention is proposed on lots 202, and then 204 is the large wetland area that was shown on the overall preliminary PUD plan. Phase 3 is the commercial development at the northwest corner of Route 59 and West Bartlett Road. The preliminary PUD plan they're predicting possibly a grocery store or retail building, as well as a possible restaurant. This would be approved for 1 or 2 lots. They would again have to come in for a final PUD plan once they have someone that's selected the site, and at that point, we will look into the parking requirements and building elevations. As part of this, they're proposing to have a right-in, right-out on Route 59 and a full access curb cut on the west side of the commercial lot. Staff recommends approval of the petitioner's request, subject to the findings of fact and conditions in your staff report. However, staff would like to add the following condition: that the light poles at the subdivision entrances on West Bartlett Road and Naperville Road and within the commercial site shall match those in the West Bartlett Road corridor plan. The petitioner and all of their experts are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have the notification documents for posting newspapers and so forth?
So the 7 signs, and then the notice, and then these are all the mailings. All the green cards are in here.
Okay, thank you. The petitioner's here this evening. Okay, can you stand, and anyone that's going to be giving some testimony and be sworn in? Well, that's okay. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge? Thank you. You can be seated. Okay. Christie, did the zoning board look at this?
The zoning board wasn't required to look at this because they're asking for rezoning and PD, planned development. There aren't any variations required. The setbacks that they're requesting are the setbacks that would go with their zoning request.
Okay, and the fire department was okay with the cul-de-sacs?
The fire department has reviewed this, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone else have any questions?
What about the land for the Park District?
So they're proposing to do a 10-acre land donation here, this lot, as well as a land donation on the east side of Route.
Side of 50. Park District's not interested on the east side of 59, though, are they?
The petitioner will be able to answer that.
All right.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to say this is our first public meeting in person in over a year, so this is a special night for us. So my name is Dan Olson. I'm with Crown Community Development. I head up the engineering and construction department. With me tonight is Chris Natz, who heads up our sales and marketing department. Rich Olson, who's the principal at Gary Weber and Associates. He's our planner. Eric Mankey, the owner of ESM Civil Solutions, our engineer. Tim Sogren, a senior transportation engineer with Kimley Horn, our transportation engineer. Vince Mosca, VP with Hay and Associates, environmental consultant. John Mays, with the managing partner for Golden Ratner, our attorney, and Rob Getz, vice president of land acquisition with Pulte Group, who will be doing the land development and also building the homes within phase one. So just to answer your question, we've had really good conversations with the Park District. As recently as 2 days ago. They are very interested in the east parcel and have plans, big plans for that, including the pickleball, as Christy mentioned. The east side, it's a heavily treated area, as you're aware, and they have some concerns about that, but they are interested in it yet. They're still pondering that one, but I think the director feels that it's more likely than not that they will take it, but we're not quite there yet, to be quite honest. So.
Anyone else have a question?
I have a question for staff.
Okay.
Christie, that northerly townhome parcel has, what, 110 units, you said?
116.
116. There's one entrance on that? Did the fire department say, boy, we'd like to have an emergency access on Naperville Road?
The fire department has reviewed this and has not requested an emergency access.
I would say that that is a concern to me, but all those units with one point of access, if that gets blocked, and the emergency vehicles are stuck. We've done secondary entrances on other parcels with many less units. I wish you would.
Yeah, I'm an engineer. I share your concern, right? We deal with that all the time, and we typically do provide secondary access, whether it be emergency access or otherwise. The problem with this location is it's landlocked on the north with townhomes that are existing there. There's no access. There was never an access stub to this property. On the south side, obviously, the railroad, and on the east side, wetlands. So that only gives us, Naperville Road as far as access goes. We located the entrance to the subdivision as far north as we could for one reason, because of the railroad. We can't have an access point that close, very close to the railroad crossing for obvious reasons. So there really was no opportunity to have a secondary access anywhere.
You don't need a secondary access, you need just an emergency access.
Right, but even emergency access, there's not really an opportunity to do that.
I see it on the south side of the pond.
On the south side of the pond?
Sure, it's on emergency only, right?
To be honest with you, as maybe our transportation guy can speak to that, but I don't see a problem with that. I'm not sure if the railroad would have an issue with it.
I'm saying that that's my concern. I don't know what the other planning commissioners think or what the village board will think, but I wanted that on the record as a concern.
Certainly.
Christie, I missed something when you were talking about the bike path. Did you say it's going to grow under 59?
That's one of the options that we're looking at, where it would be basically very similar to what you've seen. This is 59 and Route 20, where they put up a retaining wall to allow the bike path. This is 59 and the railroad tracks. So it's looking at doing something so that we could add a retaining wall here and create a bike path utilizing this space.
So this is not a given part of the plan?
It's something we're negotiating as part of the development agreement.
I think it would be a really good idea.
You're very aware of that.
Can you also expound a little bit on the buffering between I think it's the duplexes and the commercial? How much room do we have there?
So there will be a minimum of 30 feet of buffering behind the duplex lots and potential parking. Again, we don't have a site plan, so that's what the minimum setbacks are for this lot, for the parking. So we requested, and they have agreed, to put the fence, a 6-foot tall fence, on the duplex lots so that those homeowners have that immediately before the commercial is developed.
Do we have room for a little berming in addition, to put the fence on top of? It's that 6-foot fence is not a lot.
So the question was, can we do berming in addition to the 6-foot fence?
Yeah, something to give the residents a little more than a 6-foot fence between their lots and the commercial. I mean, it looks, on this, it looks sort of tight to me.
If you've been to any of our other communities, Thornwood would probably be in the closest. You can see we like berms as developers. That's what we do, and especially as buffers, natural, landscape berms. The problem with having a berm here is it takes up space for the commercial, right? Admittedly, it's not a huge commercial location. I know the staff has expressed and the board has expressed interest in getting commercial there, and berms take up space. You got to make sure it's 3-to-1 so you can mow it, and if it's to get any significant height, it gets really, really wide and builds into the commercial. So that's the issue there.
Okay, what is the elevation difference? Okay. So, and now the smaller homes, single-story homes, I don't know which area that is. The only thing I'm relating to is that subdivision on Stearns Road across from Centennial School. Do you know what the one I'm talking about?
Is that Brampton Place
Maybe,
on Windsor Drive, on the south side of Stearns?
yes.
Okay.
How much space is, I can't tell from these drawings, how much space is between these homes?
For which lots? The duplexes?
No, the single-family ranch homes, I guess they are.
The ranch homes, I believe it's 10 feet between, I think it's a 5-foot side yard setback, if I recall correctly. Rich, is that right? On the ranch homes. And then the single family I know is 15 feet, which is what we typically do in our community. It's 15 feet between the homes, 7.5 feet to the side yard setback, for the side yard setback. And then on the duplex, I think it's 5 as well. So it'd be 10 feet between the homes, which is pretty standard for this type of product and these types of buyers. That's typically what it is.
I know there's demand for this. Have you built these small lots before?
Have we built? Yes, we have. Yep. In our Highland Woods subdivision, we have small lots. It's a small lot subdivision. A small lot neighborhood, I should say.
Where at?
Where's Idlewood?
It's Highland Woods. It's in Elgin. It's out in the far west area of Elgin. It's one neighborhood. Most of them are single-family detached. All of the single-family detached homes out there have 7.5-foot side yard setbacks. But we have a ranch-style product for the active adult buyer in one neighborhood, and those are 5-yard setbacks. And it's pretty typically done in most active adult communities, such as Del Webb. Edgewater in Elgin is a great example. The bigger ranch homes on the smaller lots, smaller setbacks.
Let me make sure I'm understanding this properly, that Pulte is here to design and build the traditional single family. But we don't have a developer yet?
We do, and Pulte will be doing, so we're the property owner, we are land developers ourselves. Our partnership with Pulte is that we achieve the entitlement, then they will do the land development, and they are buying all of phase 1, which includes single-family detached, the active adult ranch, and the active adult duplex. So they will be developing all of phase 1, and they will be constructing all of those homes.
Okay, and then Townhomes is somebody else?
Townhomes will be somebody else.
How about the commercial?
Maybe Pulte, but they're not under contract for that right now, but it'll be a different builder and developer.
And you're looking for a developer for the commercial, is that it?
we've been looking for a developer for the commercial for about a decade.
I can imagine. Right, so what we're looking at here is kind of development standards that would be applied to a conceptual retail development, should a developer arise.
Yes, yes. And that was, it's part of our PUD petition, right? We needed to show something there. We think, and we know the village is interested in a grocer. We like that user. We can't make them come, unfortunately, but we think that'd be a good user. We think, so what you see in the petition is a restaurant and a grocery, and we think those are good candidates for that. But we currently do not have any, we do not have any builder or user that we're working with on that site. But we think they'll come with the rooftops, that's how it typically goes.
Dan, could you go over the active adult and the duplexes, how the HOAs will be taking care of that, and it's maintenance-free? I don't know if that was pointed out to you.
Yeah, great point, Roberta. So obviously, I'll start with the townhomes. Townhomes, obviously, townhomes will be common maintenance. It'll be one HOA north of the railroad tracks. South of the railroad tracks, all of the Pulte neighborhoods will be one HOA, and then it'll be two sub-HOAs in the active adult ranch, and then another sub-HOA in the active adult duplex, and those two neighborhoods would be common maintenance. So on the duplex product, they need to be separate sub-HOAs because obviously you got the lawn mowing and the snow plowing that needs to be done, but with the duplexes, there's also maintenance of the building. So it's a different budget, it's different costs, it's everything else. The ranch homes will be owned by the residents, and they'll maintain their own home, but the property will be maintained by that sub-HOA, and then the single-family detached will be under the master HOA, which encompasses all of them.
That makes sense to me.
What price point are you at?
Well, that's a good question for.
We have the,
Is it working now? There we go.
There you go.
All right, thank you. So Rob Getz, I'm Vice President of Land Acquisition with Pulte Homes. So as Dan mentioned, we will be building the single-family detached and then the ranches and the duplexes. We have pricing that, we're looking at today. It certainly ranges. The single-family detached homes are the exact same homes that we're currently building in our Eastfield community in Bartlett. So certainly you can, the Hilltop, Greenfield, Riverton, Westchester, those models are all being built in Eastfield. You can go online and see where we're at today. It would be similar pricing for the units that we're going to build out here in that two-story product. As far as the ranches and the duplexes go, certainly right now we have pricing. Pricing is all over the place in today's market due to cost, due to the market, everything else, right? So, if you're going to ask me today, our ranches will be starting in the mid 300s, and then they'll be closing in the low to mid 400s. The duplexes will be starting, hopefully just below 300,000, and then they'll be closing in the mid 300,000s is where we'll be with both those lineups. Pulte Homes owns Del Webb. I think we're very experienced with this active adult buyer. We also have communities right now where we're building these ranch homes that we're talking about. We're building them at our Trillium community, which is at Route 38 and 59, so it's on the border of Winfield and West Chicago. We're building them in Bolingbrook at Liberty Green. We're building them in Lindenhurst. And we're building them at Terrace Hill in Algonquin. So we're building these homes throughout the market. We understand this buyer. What this buyer is looking for is they essentially they look to put down, they're going to sell their existing home, and then they want to buy this new home at about 80% of the price that they sell their existing home, right? They want to sell their existing home. They usually are buying our homes cash or a very small mortgage. They want all new furniture, so they really look for that price point to come down about 80% of what they exit their existing home. So if you think about the market in Bartlett today, most of those people will be exiting their existing home anywhere from kind of $350,000 to $600,000 is, what the majority of those four-story homes will be selling for on the resale market that they'll be getting out of. So therein, that kind of guides our pricing to 80% of that, call it an average of $450,000 to $500,000, go 80% of that, and that's really where our sales prices will end up for those homes.
Thank you very much.
I have some questions related to traffic. First off, I want to say that it's about time we start to develop this land. It needs to be developed. You know, in my opinion, I'd like to see more retail space. I think that area definitely needs, there's so many people out in West Ridge corridor that have nowhere to go. So I'm hoping you know, we can attract a grocery store over there because it's very much needed. My concerns would be, and again, pass it along to the village board, is that I hope they'll dedicate more land for retail, you know, maybe taking out lots 142 to 147 and keeping that and putting up more retail, because I think a restaurant and a grocery store is just not enough. We need more retail in that area there. But besides that, my other concern is going to be with traffic. This is a lot of homes for that area. Route 59 and West Bartlett Road, we have very bad accidents there all the time. Now, I know the state is supposed to be redoing it. Is there a date that's set for that?
It's scheduled for the November letting of this year.
Okay. If this was approved, when would everything start?
If it's approved on our schedule right now, and admittedly it's a tight schedule, you know, I believe Pulte is anticipating starting earthwork or right around that time. So, yeah, so there's some coordination issues we'd have to work with him on, but it's been done before and we can certainly do it.
Okay. And then, is there a light expected on West Bartlett Road, a stoplight?
There's not, other than the new lights with the intersection improvements, obviously that'll be installed, but there's none at any of our entrances because they don't meet warrants.
In my opinion, you can't have this big of a subdivision without a stoplight. There's no way to turn left to get out. Rush hour, these people are all trapped. So in my opinion, I don't know if we can put that in the motion. Obviously, I know that takes the county.
So if I can respond to that real quickly, I mean, the state, in order to install a light, you know, we like lights, right? They're expensive, but they help get traffic in and out. But you have to meet state warrants to do that. And you can't have, you can imagine they don't want lights too close together. That's why there's one at Naperville Road, there's one at Route 59. These lights do not meet those warrants. Our traffic counts don't meet the warrants, and it just, the proximity, you know, to Route 59, I think is too close for a light. So
Yeah, I agree.
we could have our transportation guy speak more to that if you'd wish, but.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's other people here that want to know more about the traffic.
Okay, Tim, you want to come up? Go ahead.
Additional commentary too. It's helpful that I believe more than 50% of the home sites in this particular section are the active adult homes. They typically produce less traffic, fewer people in the household overall, and when they do travel, they're not traveling at peak times. So it substantially minimizes, hopefully, some of the concerns you rightfully, you know, offer up. But just wanted to share that because it does have a significant impact.
What would the age group be for the active adult?
You know, typically what we see, since they're ranch homes, and you do pay a premium to have that much living space in a single level. So to Rob's point, most of these people are going to be paying cash, and they have the ability to pay the premium for ranch living. Typically in this, you're going to see probably, you know, upper 50s, 60s. You know, it'll span the range of, you know, upper 50s to 70s. There could be, you know, percentages of them that are younger than that. However, the value perception just isn't there, so you have to really want to be in a single story and pay the premium.
And then does it state within that HOA that a certain age can't move into those homes?
It's not age restricted.
Okay, so
it's possible.
There's possible that those could be turned
Sure.
into a bunch of, you know, working families.
Sure.
We don't
Just
know
know from
for sure.
it
We're
is
just-
possible, or they have a unique life situation, maybe a physical disability or what have you. But just based on experience, it's unlikely that people will pay a significant premium for the same amount of square footage unless they truly have a lifestyle need. Not to say it can't happen, but just based on experience.
Again, I stop and think about that's maybe for the next 10, 15, 20 years, but let's talk about these houses are going to be there for 40 to 50 years, 60 years. We have no idea what type of economy or what we're going to be in 60 years and what kind of homes those are going to be in. I mean, we used to have single-car garages because nobody ever expected people to have more than one car. So things change. So that I don't look for the now or the next 10 years. I look a lot further than that because we have to look at those things when we're developing. We have to have smart development. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about the traffic and like the lights and.
Before, come on up, Tim, but before Tim speaks, I would like to address your comments on the commercial. You know, we like commercial, right? We actually make more money on commercial. The problem with this site is, you know, again, we've owned it for 10 years. The folks who owned it before us tried to get commercial there, big box. We tried to get big box there. We talked to the Walmarts. We talked to everybody. We had, you know, broker worked hard to get them there. We heard the same thing over and over. First of all, nobody's building big boxes anymore, right? With e-commerce, nobody, you know, the brick and mortar stores are going away, sadly. But that's the reality of Amazon, the Amazon world that we live in these days. So nobody's doing it. They don't need as much space anymore. But also we heard Cook County taxes. They don't want to come to this location because the first question they ask, is it in Cook County? Yeah. All right, we'll just go down the street a little bit, you know, and that's unfortunate as well. But like I said, we worked for 10 years trying to get a lot of commercial. About a third of that, you know, you've seen the plans, right? You know, about a third of that was, you know, we tried to make commercial, big box restaurants, everything else. Couldn't make it happen for a decade. We think this is right size in today's world. It's unfortunate we couldn't get more there, but it'd be difficult. I don't think we'd be successful if we expanded that commercial any more than what we're already showing, so.
I can talk just real quick generally about what was in the study and then answer any specific.
Sure, I appreciate
Can you just introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Tim Sjogren. I'm with Kimley Horn, a traffic engineer. Our approach to this study was really to look at probably the most conservative case. So while there is a tremendous amount of potentially active adult here, what we evaluated is if this whole thing went typical single family or multifamily with just your regular working family or whatever. So the traffic that we've got in the study does assume a pretty substantial amount of traffic that probably won't be there if in fact it develops as we anticipate. Furthermore, what we did with the commercial at the time was evaluate it with about 60,000 square feet. It will likely be significantly less. I believe the plan right now shows around 40,000. So we've got in the study improvements identified to mitigate a pretty significant amount of traffic that may not be there in actuality. And then we're working with both the state and the county on the access points and the improvements associated with them. But we got left and right turn lanes identified and the ability to have both left and right turn lanes as you exit, so that if there is a significant queue for a left, for example, turning out onto Bartlett Road, you might be able to take a right and go find an alternate route. We also have, you know, multiple points of access to that residential area as well, and that also provides people with choice as they leave. So, yeah, and that's a great one. Honestly, we were thinking it might be pretty close, and it is pretty close with the assumptions that we made, but it doesn't warrant a signal. And so from the county's perspective, that's kind of a no-go then without that. Now, is that something that can be reevaluated over time? Absolutely. But based on the projections that we have over the next 10 years with the access that we're showing, unfortunately, it doesn't meet a warrant of that location.
With the, and I don't know if you know, with Route 59 and that intersection being redone, will there be a right-hand turn lane onto West Bartlett Road?
There will, and there will be dual left turn lanes off of the state route as well. Correct. Just rights, but yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be a very significant improvement.
And then the entrance, and this is kind of nothing minor, but just a concern for me. That entrance off of West Bartlett Road, and there's a street, I think it's marked Street A, that runs through. It has a median that runs down with grass. on either side. How big is each lane? If there is a car parked on that street, can other vehicles get through? All right, because my concern is if you get a truck or something that stops along that way and they can no longer, traffic can no longer get through. So that's my concern there. Okay. Let's see. I think that's all the questions I have for now, but I might have more later. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
On the northwest corner of the commercial, what is that little finger between the two residential lots?
That, right here, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
That's an access point, so that if people lived within the community, they wouldn't have to come out to West Bartlett Road to get to the commercial.
Okay.
They'd be able to stay within the subdivision to get
Picture I'm looking at just has trees in the exits. It doesn't have that road on it. All right.
This is a conceptual plan.
Right, it's conceptual, it'll have to come in for final.
Has
We looked at-
anybody gone to IDOT and said, can we get a right in, right out over the crest of the hill going downhill, you know, on this one towards the light?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, that's a fun ride.
Yeah, one of the reasons we hired Tim is because he's a really good transportation engineer, but also he has a really good relationship with the agencies, including CDOT and IDOT. We're not there yet, right? So they by no means have said
They
yes.
haven't said no.
They haven't said no, right? And that's, in the world of IDOT, that's pretty good. We'll take those odds. So I am confident we'll get there with them. We got to make sure we meet all their requirements and the safety, guidelines and whatnot. So it's important, right? But I do want to be clear. They may say no at some point, but we'll figure that out. We do have to come back to you, with our plan when we have a user for that area, obviously, and then we'll know what the real traffic is coming in and out of there, what the user is, and then, and we'll certainly have a better, IDOT right now and CDOT both have our transportation study, which shows that right in, right out, and, they will respond to that when we receive it. We haven't gotten the responses yet, so we should know more, I would guess, within a month or two.
I share Austin's concern. If that's a 12-foot drive with a 10-foot grassy median and another 12-foot drive, then there's not room to pass. So we've had those numbers at 16 before.
Eric Mankey, he's our engineer.
Good evening, folks. Just to clarify, I'm looking at our typical road section for the boulevard, and we've got a 16-foot wide grass median, and then on either side of the median, we have a 20-foot back-to-back lane.
20 foot on either side?
On
and
either
6
side,
foot in
yes,
the
sir.
middle?
Yep.
Okay.
I apologize. I thought you were talking about the typical local streets.
No, we were talking about the main entry boulevard there. Okay.
I do have the plan in front of me, and we do show it clearly as 20-foot.
26 and 20.
20-foot, both lanes are each 20-foot, and then the median is 16-foot.
16, okay.
Correct.
It's a lot of room.
Que bueno.
Anyone else have any questions of the petitioner or staff? And at this time, I'll open up the public. Is there anyone in the audience that filled out one of those witness forms and turned it in to staff? Staff, do you have any? No?
Just a little emergency access right there. Across there.
Yeah.
It's just for fire truck. Yeah.
Could you state your name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Ovidio Fernandez Cuervo. I am representing the homeowners for the Greens of Villa Olivia HOA. I'm the president. In great subdivision, I'm familiar with multi-homes. My concern is the traffic on Naperville Road. There are days today that I cannot exit the subdivision. The closer exit on Phillip Drive to Bartlett Road, the traffic is backed up past the entrance, and I can't exit the subdivision. okay? In addition to that, somebody made a presentation to the board, village board earlier this year, the pocket reserves, 146 apartments, okay? 146 apartments. Now, we're talking 344 units. Okay, when you add it all up, I'm using Department of Transportation numbers. The average household in the United States has 1.88 cars. So you do the math. Okay, everybody drives their car one day, you can double those numbers. So you're talking 1,800 cars, 1,900 cars a day on the road. Okay, and the elephant in the room is Brewster Creek. Brewster Creek keeps growing, and the trucks keep driving. So what are we gonna do about the trucks? And all the people who work in Brewster Creek and Naperville Road. So that's my point. Okay. You mentioned there's a traffic study done. When was that done? Okay. So it's a little bit more accurate than the one the village did last year, because when the village did the traffic study last year, there was no traffic because of the pandemic. But again, take in consideration the two-lane road of Bartlett, of Naperville Road, and it's a safety issue. That's my concern from my homeowners. That's what they expressed to me. The fact that at times they cannot exit or come into the subdivision, and also the truck traffic keeps growing. Okay. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the audience have any questions, comment? Okay, now I'll close this portion of the public.
Could we ask the traffic engineer to respond to those comments about Naperville Road? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can we do that, please?
I can respond too, but I'll have Tim respond as well. A couple of my thoughts as far as the use of the project and the traffic generation for the project. Again, we talked just a minute ago about additional commercial. Commercial is a huge traffic generator, right? And if we did have more commercial, like we had originally considered, we'd be generating a lot more traffic. But all of the other uses that we considered, including warehouse distribution, including high-density residential, including, a good amount of commercial, were all much higher traffic generators than what we're proposing here, okay? The only one that would be less of a traffic generator is estate residential. And I can tell you, if we went for estate residential here, first of all, I think it's not the best use for this location. It will not encourage commercial traffic to come here, commercial users to come here, but we wouldn't do the project because it wouldn't be profitable, right? Estate residential is usually in a well and septic type neighborhood further out in the suburbs. So I did want to make a comment on that. And the other, and I'm sure Tim will say the same thing, but I do believe the improvements that IDOT, because I've seen them, I do believe that they will greatly increase the flow of traffic along West Bartlett Road. Folks are turning north onto Naperville Road right now because they can't make the left turn on West Bartlett Road on Route 59. So I do think that's going to mitigate that substantially. Will we add traffic? Yes, there's no question. The only way we don't add traffic is if we don't do anything here, right? And I'm not sure that's what the village is looking for either. But I do think those improvements at Route 59 and West Bartlett Road are really going to help the traffic on Naperville Road as well. But I'll let the expert speak to it.
I guess, and I hear and agree with, that, active adult is about as benign traffic-wise as anything could be. But any kind of use that we could have, and we, village dearly wanted commercial on this for ages, and that would be much more intense. But I guess in response to the comments that were made, what can you say about the natural evolution of as pressure on Naperville Road rises? Right. What generally can be expected to happen with improvements to it? Just put on your prognostication hat.
I think one of the benefits of this particular access plan is that there will be very limited traffic that's going to want to go through the Naperville and Bartlett road intersection. If you look at it, if you're headed to get to the 59 corridor, you're going to use that middle access there on Bartlett, get to the 59 corridor, you'll stay away from Bartlett Road. If you're going to go north to get to the various corridors you can access from there, you're going to use that access up on Naperville Road, and you'll stay away from that signal. Where there'll be some traffic that comes through there, sure. But the impact of that particular intersection, which I know is more sensitive given some of the other things that are going on with industrial, et cetera, it will be significantly limited. So, you know, obviously what we looked at is probably a worst case, and it's pretty well managed with the mitigation that we're identifying. And we didn't just look at, you know, this site popping in today. We actually increased the traffic to account for COVID to make sure that was considered. And then we looked 10 years in the future with additional growth beyond just our development. So there's a lot of stuff in here that accounts for future conditions and manages them well. So yes, there will be more traffic than there is today, but the combination of the mitigation that we're proposing, as well as the fact that we probably were overly conservative in our estimates, would suggest that it will be well managed. So I don't know if that is a good enough putting on the wizard hat.
It's hard to say, you know, as pressure increases on a roadway, you add more lanes, more signalization, right, over the course of human events, but who can tell now? What does Naperville Road operate as now on a grading basis?
I believe it's, for most time periods, a level of service C. It's a high C. It may have some Ds in it today. But in the future, I think our impact is a couple of seconds during most of the peak hours. Again, we're not using that particular intersection.
So your impact is a couple of seconds of wait time?
Correct.
Okay.
To the overall intersection, yeah.
If I could, I think the staff would concur with some of the statements made by the petitioner in regards to how the current situation is going to be drastically improved at 59 in West Bartlett with dual left turn lanes. Right now, I drive that every day, and it does back up, and it backs all the way up to Cheviot. And we truly believe, as far as the truck traffic is concerned, we've been working on a wayfinding truck route signage so that we can direct trucks to Route 59 rather than transversing up Naperville Road. And as such, when you have dual left turn lanes and a designated right turn lane, the truck drivers, we hope, are going to actually take that route rather than Naperville Road. And just to let you know, our traffic consultant, Lynn Means, is here tonight, so if you have any questions from the other side, she can answer those. Oh, excuse me.
Why don't we hear from our traffic consultant?
Anyone else have any questions, comments?
I guess just a comment. I'm definitely with Mark with the townhouses, and there should be some type of emergency access. That's a lot of townhomes, a lot of units for one entrance. I was the president of a townhouse association at 150 units, and we just had courts, and we have issues, especially with parking and everything else. And just looking at this, there's a lot of units there. I hope when the final comes through that maybe these are rearranged or some are taken out and an emergency lane's put in. That would be my concern.
Yes, as Dan spoke to earlier, the geometry of the site is a bit challenging. We did try to account for that by designing it with the loop design, so that if something were to happen, that minimizes the impact with the loop design.
Yeah, and I think the other issue that you're going to have, and I know there's nothing much that you can do about it other than reduce the number there, is people trying to turn left onto Naperville Road. That's going to be stacked up in the morning hours, rush hour. You're going to have that line all the way back there. There's no way around that, and I can tell you that just by seeing a court that has about 40 units in it, and we had issues, and so no traffic study needed there. You're going to have major issues at that section there. So I hope, again, a final would try to figure out a way
It's a great point, right? I mean, but, you know, another thing that we've done with emergency access, vehicle access, you know, because, you know, the way, as you guys, I'm sure know, you know, fire departments look at it, they assume that there's an accident blocking the entrance, right, in the lane, and then there's a fire at the same time, right? You know, low likelihood of probability, but that's how they got to think, because that's the business that they're in. So the way we've addressed that in other cases where we had situations like this where we didn't have the opportunity to provide an emergency access, is we do a boulevard at the entrance. And that splits the lanes up. Even if there's an accident on this lane, you still got a secondary lane for that emergency access. So that's certainly something we can consider as well. But we'll also consider the emergency access on the south side of that pond. You know, we need to talk to, you know, the railroad, because that's going to be a concern. We need to talk to CDOT about that and making sure, you know, that's acceptable. But it is something we will consider.
One final question for you. The phase 3 for the commercial, how soon would everything else have to be built and then that?
I wish I could give you an answer, you know, but again, you know, I'm a little gun shy to give you an answer because it's been 10 years. I know I've said that many times now, but commercial's hard to get these days, really hard to get, you know, because of the reasons I mentioned earlier. But I would say if they came in tomorrow, yeah, or we'd start that process right now as far as final engineering. It'd actually be better. We could work, you know, both with, you know, Rob's contractors and our contractor, or their contractor, working at the same time. The reality is nobody's coming to us yet, right? You know, there's been a few inklings, but nothing that ever.
Well, hopefully if something like this is approved and then they know something's going to be built, that maybe they want to get their foot in the door.
Sure. You know, the axiom, and you probably heard it, right? The old axiom is, you know, commercial comes after the rooftops, right? You need the customers before, you know, they're going to, you know, build their building and put that capital in the ground, because they want to make sure it's going to be successful. So you know, we're very excited, you know, about Pulte getting their product going out there. They are consumers. They have dispendable cash, right? Just, you know, and we think, you know, that this is going to be a great location, will be successful. But until those rooftops show up, you know, I don't think we're going to get a lot of interest with the commercial. But if you know of anybody's interested, please send them our way. We'd love to take them. So.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, before we vote on this, I'd like to bring a few issues that I have concerns. I think this property is too crowded for what they're trying to put on there. I think that they're taking away from some of the space between the houses and front and backyards, and it's just too crowded for this property. The street that comes off on the south side, instead of being lined up with Cheviot, it should be lined up with Jody. They should realign that street there, because there's just going to be too much traffic backed up onto 59. And the traffic pattern for the restaurant and the grocery store is not a very good pattern for traffic to be going through there. There's no aisle or lane for traffic to go through. You have to be going through the parking lanes with people coming in and out. It's not a good concept to do that. And the exits from that is you got one going up into a residential area and another one going down into West Bartlett Road. I wouldn't want people coming up in a residential area, coming out of that grocery store or restaurant, going into my neighborhood. I don't need that extra traffic up and through there. So I have a problem with that. I also have a problem with the parking in the townhomes. I know people that live in townhomes, and when we go over there for birthday parties or something like that, parking is terrible. You know, if 2 or 3 people happen to be having a party at the same time, graduation, you can't find parking. So again, the density, they're putting too many things in that little space over there. And then IDOT, when they started doing their construction on the intersection at 59, the traffic pattern through there is going to be really terrible for at least a year. Look what they did over on Stearns in 59. Took them a long time to get that going. So, you know, the whole thing is just too crowded. That traffic patterns are not good. And it's not a good layout for people living in the neighborhood over there. It's just not right. Okay, so we're going to vote on each item separately. First item that we're going to be voting on is rezoning from the B2 Local Convenience Shopping, AR2 Estate Residential, SR2 Suburban Residence, SR5 Suburban Residence, SR6 PUD Suburban Residence zoning districts, to a PD Planned Development zoning district. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Any further discussion on that one? Secretary, call the roll.
John Miasso,
Yes.
Austin Hopkins,
Yes.
Jerry Callis, Mark Hopkins,
Yes.
Tim Renauer,
Yes.
Jim Lumberg.
Yes. All right, on the next item, item B, preliminary subdivision PUD. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second.
Any further discussion on that one?
Yeah, I want to state that I would like to see on a final, some of the items we discussed with the townhouses, and I'd like the village board to consider trying to add more space, or even for space over there for retail. I think it's very important, and traffic. I think the village board really needs to consider traffic as well.
Anything else? Secretary, call the roll.
John Miasso,
Yes.
Austin Hopkins,
Yes.
Tim Renauer,
Yes.
Jim Lumberg.
No.
Mark Hopkins.
Yes.
Next item is item C, comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use plan. Do you have a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? Secretary, call the roll.
John Miasso,
Yes.
Austin Hopkins,
Yes.
Mark Hopkins,
Yes.
Tim Renauer,
Yes.
Jim Lumberg.
No. Item D, special uses for plan unit development and wetland mitigation. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? Secretary, call the roll.
John Miasso,
Yes.
Austin Hopkins,
Yes.
Mark Hopkins,
Yes.
Tim Renauer,
Yes.
Jim Lumberg.
Yes. And item E, preliminary PUD plans, Phase 2 townhomes and Phase 3 for commercial. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Secretary, call the roll.
John Miasso,
Yes.
Austin Hopkins,
Yes.
Mark Hopkins,
Yes.
Tim Renauer,
Yes.
Jim Lumberg.
No. Okay. Thank you for coming in this evening, and this will be forwarded to the trustees. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is old business, new business, and if you want to wait a few minutes until they close out.
We have a meeting in May.
Yep. Okay, you have any old business, new business?
Just to have on the agenda, the joint special ZBA Plan Commission meeting. We have been asked for July to combine and have a special meeting for the development that's coming through in downtown here, so that they only have to go through one public hearing process instead of two, because they have to go to the ZBA and the Plan Commission. And so with that being said, we would like to have it, and this is just a one-time thing, on July 1st, which is the ZBA night. And we need to know tonight if you can make it.
Is that Monday?
No, it's a Thursday. It's the
Thursday?
week before your normal night. So your normal meeting night would be July 8th. This is July 1st.
Since
Make it.
Since the 4th of July Fest does not start until the 2nd, I will be available.
So Austin is yes. John?
I'll be there.
John, you'll be here. It's in person, okay?
I almost missed tonight.
I know. I'm looking at you.
I said, oh, no. Yeah, I can be there.
You can be here, okay, okay.
I'm a real maybe. I'm coming back from someplace on that day, so it just depends on when we're going to get back.
Okay, because we're struggling here. We have to have a quorum, and I'll tell you why. So we have one item. It's going to be tricky how we do this meeting, but the first part of the meeting is going to be a special Plan Commission meeting just for one item, and only the Plan Commission is going to vote. Then we're going to open that meeting, we're going to close that meeting, and we're done. And then we're going to open up the joint meeting with the ZBA and the Plan Commission for one big hearing for two different projects. One is the proposed apartment complex in downtown, and the other one is for La Petite Resto Bar and Tapas Restaurant at Banbury Fair. Both of those need to go to the zoning board. They both need to go to the Plan Commission. We're going to have one hearing for both, but you're each going to vote separately. ZBA will vote first, they're done, and then the Plan Commission will vote, and then you're done. But I do need a quorum for each of those. So I got to have Jerry here. He's got to make it if Tim can't make it.
Man,
Because there's only 6 of you.
is Diane not on the board anymore?
No, she moved to Florida.
Nobody tells me this stuff.
I was wondering that at the
no
last
idea.
meeting. I thought I missed something.
No idea.
So if I have to go pick Jerry up, I'll drive him here. I mean, that might be what I have to
I'd
do.
have to.
He said he told us for 3 meetings in a row he was going to be here, and
Is it not possible to zoom in with electronic means?
he couldn't Zoom in last month. I
But
mean,
if-
he couldn't do it.
You need a designated hitter.
So,
Could probably use another appointment then, huh?
well, yeah, but. Right. So, I mean, if I can get Jerry here, then I'm not worried about Tim missing, but if he's not here,
I'll have a little bit better idea tomorrow about what time we'll be getting back in town. It's going to start at 7.
What about you, Jim? Are you available? Jim, are you? July
here.
1st? You can do July 1st, because it's different than your normal night. It's the week
It'll
before.
be at 7 o'clock on the 1st, right?
On the 1st. See, our public notices go out tomorrow, so that's why I have to know tonight.
Yeah, I would not be able to do our normal night.
Oh,
So
Okay.
July 1st actually works better.
so it works better for you. Okay. I'll just call Jerry. I'll pick him up. I'll just make sure he's here.
Or Zoom.
Yeah, I mean,
He struggles. Yeah, he struggles with the Zoom at home.
Well, maybe somebody needs to be a Zoom assistant or something.
Christie.
Well, we'll do our best. Why don't we shoot, so all of the ZBA members can make the 1st. We have a quorum for them, right, Kim? Okay. It's this commission. Yeah. Right, so and this is just a one-time thing, just for July, and then we'll go back to the normal. But this is just a special one.
this is the test run.
All right, we're going to shoot for the 1st at 7 o'clock. We'll send you lots of notices, agendas, emails to remind you
Oh, thanks.
to attend. And I believe we will call next time. We're going to call and remind you too, so. All right. And Tim, if you can, we'd really appreciate
My
it.
best.
Okay,
I'm not in control of it, unfortunately.
that's okay. All right. That's all we really had.
I'd like to add a little business here. I just want to let everybody know that the 4th of July Fest will be going on this year. We'll be having it from the 2nd to the 4th. And a big thank you to the village because they really provided a lot of help for us this year because we were concerned that, you know, if for some reason things get shut back down or people decide they don't want to come out, the committee would lose a lot of money and the fest and fireworks would be in jeopardy for next year. But the village, Mayor Wallace, something that he really wanted, and the committee made it happen. The fireworks, however, will be on the 2nd. Second. They will be on the Friday, so you all are aware.
Are you going to be playing there?
I am not. I am too busy doing other stuff that I will not be able to perform,
Okay.
so.
I got a question. I don't know if it's official business or not official business. The bike path underpass, is that on the developer that we're trying to get them to do it? Or who's doing this? Who do we want to do
You
this?
should have asked that question during the meeting.
Well, I thought, that's what I was trying to get
They
out of you
should-
guys.
They should address that.
Well, they got to come back, right?
Tell the village board to address that then.
It is, so your question is, who's responsible for that?
Were we trying to get this developer to do that?
We are, my official answer is we are currently negotiating that at this time. And we are doing our best to, we're going
We're
to,
still on the record?
yeah, we're recording. We are going to reach out and hopefully apply for grants. And typically, grants are 80-20, and if our share, the village's local share is 20%, we have asked the developer to split those costs with us. So we would, the village would be responsible for 10, and they would be responsible for 10. That's
8 is responsible for 80?
typically, our grants are 80-20, some are 50-50, it depends, we don't know. So this is all being negotiated.
Anyone else have anything?
Adjourn.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned.